Coming to you live from my apartment, it's Rob Has a Podcast. And now, here's a guy who's questioning his faith in the Big Brother gods. I'm Rob Cesternino. It was a night where we all got hit with the poison berry once and for all. Victor is your new Battleback champion. Yes, Jon Snow is back from the dead. It was the Battleback of the bastards. And Victor will be returning to the house. So we don't know much at this hour, but we will try to piece together everything that we are hearing. If have the live feeds come back on, or is this a moot point, live feed guys?
They're not coming back until midnight.
All right, good. All right, so this will be spoiler-free all the way through here with our 3 live feed correspondents who have absolutely nothing new to tell me tonight, but we will get their take on everything that we saw play out in the Battleback from left to right. Here we go. First is a man who was dining at the Outback Steakhouse earlier tonight. Hopefully it went better for him than it did for Bridget.
Thank you for that, actually.
Alex Kidwell. Alex, how are you?
Yeah, Rob, mateship. Yeah,
yes.
How's it going? Yeah, those
Yes.
big bloke beers and all that goes on over at the good old Outback. Yeah, I'm doing good. Luckily, podcasting isn't about size or shape; it's about skill because I'm sample size, Rob.
Okay, all right.
Whatever that means.
Brent Walgamot is back with us here for the second night in a row. Brent, how are you?
Rob, I decided to come back. I just couldn't contain myself. I wanted to see what happened on the Battleback, and I was so pumped. Not.
Okay. And then finally, with us once again is the great Taryn Armstrong. Taryn, how are you?
Mourning for the prince that was promised, and instead we got the bastard.
Yes, we got the bastard Victor who comes back, and we'll talk about the ramifications of all that, but I think that right now up front we got to react to the Battleback and the format, and it certainly was different than maybe what we anticipated. So hashtag RHAP, we'll take your questions, then also on our YouTube channel at robhasawebsite.com/YouTube. And I got to say I was pretty fired up during the Battleback. It was very exciting. I thought that we were promised that it was all going to play out in one night and we're going to be watching sort of this big tournament going down, but it really does feel like that these things happened on the night that each HOH competition, they really repurposed the same set because, Alex, there's no possible way that this all happened since the last eviction, right?
I mean, I think this all kind of took place on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, but I guess we don't really know for sure. Certainly, it's the same sets, and it did certainly remind of season 16 with the reset button where you had Frankie Grande and crew running up and down a slippery hoe on 2 separate non-consecutive occasions that week. So wow. Yeah, that's definitely what reminded me of.
Brent and Taryn, is that how you guys saw it? This took place all this week?
I'm not sure. I mean, it looked like that some definite time had passed. I think, Rob, that your theory is correct because you saw that Jose miraculously had a haircut between the first and the second comp. I had to go back and look at that. He had all of his hair in the first comp and then had it all shaved off a la Paul and Paulie during the second comp. So obviously some amount of time had passed. If it was one day, it seems to me like it was probably a week.
Yeah, that's a good catch. It's not like, it would have been nice if we had like clean-shaven Victor in like when he plays Jose, and then when he's playing Bronte, he's like full Grizzly Adams, and then we would know, But
right. Yeah, Taryn, as Ann in the chat room says, and I caught this myself, Victor talked about the dreams he's had in between each round of the Battleback, which at least speaks to it didn't all happen in one day. What's your take?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think they just repurposed the HOH competitions immediately after they were played, which you know what that means. It means that Glenn wasn't waiting all this time to hope that he can get back in the game. He knew that he was out, and he still had to wait all these weeks.
Poor Glenn. He's been waiting all this time to get back to the Boogie Down Bronx.
I'm from the Bronx, and we come from the school of hard knocks, and I got a hard head. I don't like to lose.
I don't like to lose. And then when I do, I hate it when they just lock me in a room for a month. That's the worst part of it.
It makes it really sad because like he's talking about like, oh, at least I get to go see my daughter. Nope, sorry, we're sending you back to prison, Glenn.
Yeah, can I see my daughter yet? Will somebody please let me see my child?
Glenn, get back in the room, Glenn.
Get in your room, Glenn.
Do not come out till July 22nd, and then when you come out, your summer is over, Glenn. How about that? Julie was just like telling people left and right, like, sorry to say, your summer is now over. It's like, what? It's like 8 weeks till Labor Day.
Sorry, Glenn, your daughter will go wanting.
I'm not even in the game anymore. This isn't about the game, Glenn. Big Brother's been over for a long time.
Yeah.
Wow,
Well,
I guess
they
I'm the only one who doesn't have an impression of Glenn. Wow, you guys are amazing.
Will they at least give Glenn the DVDs of the season to watch? At least, like, can he not be like sequestered in terms of the game?
I hope they get all these vets out. That's all.
Right? Yeah, he's still on the vets thing.
They still didn't get any of the vets out.
Well, given that it was probably only a week since he was evicted, it's not surprising that he was still talking about the vets.
Well, I hope for his sake that Alex is right, that they ran all these events this week. But if they did it, say, the night that Jose ended up going out of the game, because that would coincide right with the night that Paulie won the second HOH, because if that would make sense. So after they run the real HOH, then I guess if there's some sort of a lockdown or a reset, they can just run that new version of that same competition, because they would have to rebuild the same exact set. It seems like it would be so impractical for them to do it that way. We have to figure out that what night was that? That was what, like the July 2nd? Was that the time that around that time where the 4th of July was what, was a Monday?
Yeah, 4th of July was a Monday.
Yeah, so that if that was the case, then it's been about 3 weeks since Glenn was locked away and they threw away the key. At least, yeah. So then at least that Jose has only been locked up for 2 weeks without a shot to get back in the game.
Well, I don't have any sympathy for him, because how bad did he play that poison berry, whatever the heck he was trying to do there? I mean, you know, if you're not sure, first of all, he should have done it at 8 instead of 9 and trying to be cute. Okay, let's talk about that. Second of all, I think he at least should have waited until Jose was close to winning, like let him get to 18 or 19, and then stand right there with the berry, just stand right there and let him like get close to 18 or 19, and then put it in if you want. But for him to
Jose
totally waste it.
Fast. Glenn is like a slow turtle. You kidding?
He totally blew it, wasted it. It was pathetic.
Oh, I mean, he had no shot. He had no shot.
It was terrible.
Brent's totally right though. Like if you're gonna play that, you play it on the second stack, and you try to keep it close as you can. Maybe it's like 18-16. You get him, and then you hope you can close out before he can poison berry you back.
But there's no way that he was way too slow. There's no as soon as he plays his poison berry, Jose is going to play his, and they're going to be even again, and Jose is going to outpace him again.
Probably.
You don't know. I'm just saying.
And isn't the move, if you strike first with the poison berry, isn't there almost it's like a zero-sum game, the poison berry?
Well, you got to stay on their heel and then poison berry him right at the end. I think.
I mean, I guess you could probably just stand there with 9 and or just stand there and wait till Jose has 9 berries and then poison berry him. I did like the added addition of the poison berry to this game, but yeah, it was such a Glenn's fate in this game again to lose another photo finish. Really,
right?
Another time. I mean, the guy was in the house for 2 days and loses 2 photo finishes.
The only person to be evicted from the Big Brother house with no vote, and he's been evicted from the Big Brother house twice in a competition.
Yeah, and he's lost 5 competitions along the way as well.
Sorry, that's so
I'm
great.
from the Bronx, and we come from the school of hard knocks, and I got a hard head. I don't like to lose.
I don't like to lose, and it happens a lot. I gotta be honest. I really don't like it, and it seems to happen. My least favorite thing, besides being locked in a hotel for a month.
Hey Glenn, how was your Big Brother experience?
Yeah, how was your summer, bro?
Not great, Aaron. Not great.
Wasn't my favorite thing.
Not
it
good,
wasn't
Rob,
my
not
favorite.
good.
Yeah, not good. Not good. So then Jose moves on, and then now I'm all in with the Messiah that he's gonna be able to come through. But then Messiah ran out of gas. Sadly.
I don't understand. He's supposed to be able to do this. Like this was as good a comp as he's gonna get against Victor. It's so finicky, and he can use his Messiah powers, his volleyball powers.
Right.
But
I mean, he's
nothing.
practicing at a net all day long. This was really a competition that was made for him.
Yeah, if that short little video package is any indication, that's all he's been doing for the last month or so. So yeah, there's no excuses here.
So yeah, that went back and forth, and I really felt like that the Messiah was gonna pull it out. He did not, and then the belt changes hand. Alex, as a wrestling enthusiast, what do you think of the Battle Back belt?
I gotta sign off on it. It's kind of cool. Did you see how excited Frank was to be told about it? He's like, oh, they got a strap going on. He was so excited to hear about it from Victor. Like at the very end of the episode, that was great.
Victor come in with the Battle Back title.
You know Frank's dad is a fan. No, I was just explaining it to him there, and I don't think he had it, did he? I don't think so.
No, he didn't have it. Can I throw some shade on the show a little bit, though? I mean, what was up with Victor having the belt on his person during every interview that was done after the competition? Rob, I already knew he was going to win because he's sitting there with the belt talking about the competition that just happened.
That's fair. I didn't think that through.
I didn't think that through either. I'm just thinking this is like an 80s wrestling package, like, with Victor, talking as he's like his own hype man there for a little while. But yeah, that's a good point.
Very fair point, Brent. Good to point that out. We got to the competition with Bronte versus Victor, and you see this, and it's going to be a puzzle where it's going to be a memory challenge, and we're like, okay, this one is really... AJ Mass said when we did the 13 archetypes, he said, I think they're going to do some sort of mental competition for Bronte when it gets to her. And yes, that was what the HOH was that week. So it was this amazing confluence of events for Bronte. It really seemed like almost like the fix was in here for Bronte. And Taryn, the Bronte train that you were once conducting is officially derailed.
Totally derailed. Well, okay. So I don't understand her thinking. I mean, maybe she was just desperate, but she is a mathematician. She should know that
Allegedly at this point, alleged mathematician Bronte, because there has been zero empirical evidence to support that at this point.
Absolutely no empirical evidence.
Going back to what's 9 times 9, 89.
Yeah, that was not a mistake.
Yeah, she has not ever gotten one thing correct when it comes to...
She ties it into absolutely everything she does, and the one thing where it should be tied in, which was like figuring out how many possibilities there are in combinations if she's going to guess and check, like she completely fails at it. Like you can't do the guess and check method unless you're only down to 2 possible, results, and that wasn't where she was. So like I understand if it was desperation, but you need to go slow and steady. If you have this sort of competition, you need to know the answers for sure, and you can't just do this guess thing.
Yeah, comparing.
Brent, you know what this reminded me of? That this is like on the race game on The Price is Right, where somebody has like one, like, okay, I have 2 things. All right, let me just switch all of them. It's like,
yes. Yes, I love it. That's a great comparison. I was thinking during this whole time that she's exactly like my girl, Rachel Riley 1.0. Who I love Rachel Riley, but during Rachel's first season, she tied everything into chemistry. Everything was about chemistry. And literally everything that comes out of Bronte's mouth somehow is related to mathematics, anything to do with algebra or anything like that, numbers. Like, shut up already. I don't want to hear about it. I just want you to solve this puzzle.
Well, we won't hear about it anymore. All right, Alex, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No worries. Yeah, I was just going to say, right, like, this wasn't a math competition. There was, like, minimal elements of math.
Thank you.
She keeps calling it a math test, and it's like, all right, if you're going to do that, that's one thing. But then to, like Taryn says, like, the only place you can apply math, she chooses to just, like, use there's so many permeations at that point, and she's just like, well, I guess I'm just gonna like try all the combinations because math and combinations, and you lose. Good job.
So Victor moves on, and then really this is the point. I tweeted this out that all my eggs, all of Glenn's eggs are now in Tiffany's basket, where really this was going to be the ultimate drama of, okay, here's Tiffany. She went out of the house, but she has this axe to grind with Devon and could really be somebody to shake things up. And what a layup for Tiffany now. A puzzle now for Tiffany versus Victor, and not just a puzzle about some sort of DJing where maybe it wasn't poker playing, but it was one of the Russo sisters' interests, and we said, okay, a slam dunk here for Tiffany. And Alex, what went wrong?
Oh, man. Yeah, Victor just, he's surprised with that roadkill. He had that one roadkill where it's like, this isn't made for Victor, and Victor kind of wins it. That was the math thing. And then, yeah, here again, he showed a little bit of more skill, I think, than, we got to give Victor a little bit of credit, I think. He's a little bit more capable in terms of mental stuff than we wanted to. When we would probably give him credit for as, like, the meathead archetype. You know what I mean? Like, he probably wouldn't have been as lost as Corey was on, like, the Ice Cream Tower of Power game.
Yeah.
So, I give him a little credit there.
Taryn, Tiffany went with the slow and steady approach, but it's very important, and maybe it goes underreported that in slow and steady, you have to be right when you are going slow, right?
Yeah, you talked about putting all your eggs in Tiffany's basket, and I wanted to tweet you the Donnie Darko bunny in response, because I was just like, oh man, this is not a bright timeline we're looking forward to. Yeah, Tiffany. I mean, she had this strategy, which was go from the bottom because you know which ones line up from the bottom. But then she changed the strategy and went to the top because she started copying Victor. And that just made no sense to me. Like, you're copying Victor after he already has a head start on you. You have to continue along with your own strategy and hope that it's better than his. And if she had done that, she may have won.
The thing about the times also, I mean, it was funny, like, what the DJ was saying about the different things, but it just seemed like, okay, well, Tiffany was the one paying attention to it. Victor wasn't paying attention to it, but then, Brent, it seems like then Victor at the end was able to just copy all the things that Tiffany had and then drop the last couple in there.
Right. I think that, I mean, we're looking back at it 2020. I mean, once I saw what was happening and I saw she was putting them up there, and she knew that Victor wasn't putting them up there like she was, she should have made some effort to conceal what they were, like switched a few on purpose, or, like had them stacked up like in the order that they needed to be put up and just put them all up at the end. But on the other hand, that's very easy for us to say sitting on the outside examining it afterwards. I will say the one thing I agree with Taryn, like, I don't know what she was doing copying him. You're never going to get ahead of somebody if you copy their strategy. Like, so I thought she was actually doing okay at first, and then for some reason she just decides to follow what Victor's doing. She totally deserved to lose that competition. It was not good, Rob. Not good.
It was not good. I mean, let's do the eulogy here on Tiffany Rousseau, because, I mean, it was really, I feel like the promise ends up being unfulfilled here. I thought that really we were going to end up seeing some fireworks, and it really just never ended up happening. And then I thought she was going to come back, and then we were going to see this, something Vanessa-esque to come out of this, but it just never ended up happening in this game. And sure, I could go back and watch the Sequester Season 2 tapes, but that'll probably have to wait for another day, maybe after I get through the Andrew Gordon episodes. Alex, do you want to start here with the Big Brother eulogy for Tiffany?
Sure. Yeah, not friendship. Not friendship for Tiffany tonight, but, what can you do? It's unfortunate, she had the best shot, I mean, all she had to do was win the one, and she's back, and certainly I think, it's debatable whether or not she really could have made any ground in the game, given her reputation, given the recency of it all. I mean, we've seen some players like Johnny Mack kind of do the revolving door, come right back in, and manage to kind of parlay that into laying low for a little while, but that's a player, and I'd say Judd too. These are players that had very mild-mannered reputations in the house before leaving, and so then when they came back, they were able to kind of like fall back under the radar. Hard for me to see a scenario where Tiffany really could have done that. I really feel like she probably would have been a name that is either keeps coming up and going on the block for 3 weeks and probably goes out soon, or is just targeted right away because it's just too easy. I mean, she's done a lot to make herself a target, and she's already out once, so it's pretty easy, I think, to get people on board at that point.
Okay, Taryn, do you have a final thought on Tiffany in the game?
Yeah, going in, I always felt like she was a high-risk, high-reward kind of player to kind of ride your hopes on. I think it's pretty clear that she doesn't quite have the strategic mind of her sister. That said, I don't think she really had an opportunity to play the game without this massive disadvantage of being tied to her sister. So, all of her mistakes, or many of her mistakes, can be tied to the fact that she went in with this disadvantage. So I don't think she's as bad as she'll end up coming off as, going out pre-jury. However, unfortunately, she is so much like her sister. The emotions, the little fights she had with Frank, like those were small mistakes that were amplified to a huge extreme because of this disadvantage, and she should have known that to some extent. So, here she is.
I think the most disappointing thing is that she had 2 chances where completing a puzzle would have saved her in the game, both in this week's veto competition, which she lost to Corey, and then this week's battle back, where she had a golden opportunity to beat Victor in a puzzle and ultimately get back into the house, and she loses to probably, if you were going to rank the people in terms of like doing puzzles, 2 of the people that would be like really towards the bottom of that list, Brent.
Rob, I would just like to take this opportunity to point out that of the 3 of us, I was the only one who did not have Tiffany as my #1 ranked person on your list.
Yes, who did you have ranked #1?
Well, let's not talk about that.
Yeah, you don't get to toot any horns right now, sir. Sorry.
Well, I do think that her strategic acumen was a bit oversold to me. Listening to Alex and Taryn talk about sequester.
I always said it was a possibility.
She was not the Messiah.
Yeah. Wow, yeah, it was like she was the Messiah of sequester, and I didn't see any evidence of that in the house. I mean, she reminded me a lot of me and my sibling. Like, I'm the older sibling. I feel like I'm a little bitchier and aggressive, and I feel like that's kind of like Vanessa and Tiffany. My sister is the more emotional, sweet one, and I feel like Tiffany really, I don't know if she was like Paulie says he's bred for this game. I don't think that Tiffany is bred for this game. I think she's really a sweet girl, and I don't think she has the kahunas that Vanessa did last season to really get the job done.
All right, well, let's turn to Victor now and him coming back into the house and figure out what this all is going to mean. And so here he is. The house guessed that Julie came on and told them, hey, guess what? Somebody's coming back. And they were like, oh, my God. Oh, all right, Jose's coming back. Oh, Tiffany's coming back. Bronte's coming back. Nobody really seemed to be thinking about the return of Victor to the game. And he ends up going out where Paulie says, whoa, hey, I evicted 2 people from the house. Victor is one of them who went out during Paulie's HOH. So let's just talk about what the ramifications of that look like. Winners and losers of Victor coming back into the house. Alex, let's start with the winners of Victor returning to the game.
All right. Well, first I just want to touch on, isn't it great how every time a twist is announced, the instant reaction in the house is always just it doesn't even matter if the twist is, straightforward and easily explained and everything's there for it's just mass confusion and people just interpret it so wrong every time. This reminded me of Big Brother 5. When Julie says, someone in the house with you right now has a twin coming in, and Jace is like, Scott! And Scott wasn't even in the house at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think that happens in real life, too, where it's a news event happens, everybody just freaks out oh, Brexit! Oh, man! Oh, what does this mean? I don't know. All right, sell my stocks. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me let me stockpile rations.
Jose's coming through the wall.
The thing that happens is at least one person is going to say, called it, I knew it.
Yeah, I knew it. I knew it.
Paulie for sure.
And let me just back up one step also that we talked about Tiffany just now, but Tiffany says to Victor on the way out the door, shades of Redemption Island, she says, hey, work with Frank, don't trust Davon. Now, I don't know ultimately if Victor is going to take that information and run with it, but that is a seed, a Tiffany seed planted on the way out the door. All right, so Alex, let's talk about the winners of Victor coming back into the house.
Cool. Yeah. So I think really, I guess. Yeah.
It's hard to say.
Really benefits. Yeah.
I'm not sure either.
It's really like who's not a loser, really. You know what I mean? Like the losers to me are
Who's
like
a loser in this house? This house is a bunch of losers.
no winners.
Yeah,
no winners.
no winners.
No, I think pretty easily Frank and Devon benefit to a large extent because they're the two biggest targets in the house, and Victor coming in takes some relief off of that. It gives the target a little bit more extra breathing room for them. And then also Paul, to some extent, this could be a bad thing for his game if he plays it poorly, which he probably will. But looking at it on paper, it should be a benefit to his game. If anything good, anywhere near a good player.
Yeah, it's like you want to say Paul, but then you remember that Paul is like doing his best now that he has no options but to lay low. You know what I mean? It's like as soon as you give him an option, you worry about what he'll do with it. Yeah, but you're right. Frank especially because Victor's been told to work with Frank, and he doesn't know who to trust. So Frank, and then maybe by extension Bridget are probably best.
Yeah,
this might mess up Natalie and James though, and it shouldn't, but it probably will.
Yeah, there's that meme that was going around week 3 where is a picture of Paul, and it's talking about how he voted out, like he got blindsided in the first week, going with what he thought was going to do. Then when his ally got voted out of the house, he was the only person to cast a sympathy vote to save him, and then he became a trusted ally of everybody in the house. But enough about Dr. Will. Let's talk about Paul. But this is maybe, the Big Brother 2, Mike Boogie returning to the house here. And I can't imagine that would have worked out well for the Big Brother 2 Dr. Will. Certainly that they were not a well-oiled machine at that point in time like they would be a few seasons down the road. So I feel like that this is really a net negative for Paul and all of the goodwill that he's built up. I think that he's going to be seen as somebody who is now a real target in the house with Victor coming back. Alex, do you see it that same way?
I do. Yeah. Somehow he's going to catch some kind of blame for this. Like, you dreamed for this to happen, didn't you? You wanted it. Don't lie to me.
Yeah, he did not look happy about
Well, one thing I want to point out is that we saw some of the conversations that took place between Tiffany and Victor there at the end, but I don't feel like we saw everything. I mean, that was heavily edited, and if they had a moment to talk, I can't believe that those are the only two things that Tiffany would have said to him. I'm hoping that, and we'll find out very soon based on the feeds, that she told him, look, the power structure in the house is the two showmances. If you want to make if anybody wants to make any headway in the house, they have to dismantle the showmances. At least remove one cog in the wheel, because right now, those 4 people are literally controlling everything that goes on in the house.
The thing about that is though that like all the information Tiffany had, she already spilled it in the house, so they're all going to be prepared to counter whatever he comes in with, like especially Paul. Like if she comes in saying showmancers, or if he comes in saying that the showmancers are this power structure, Paul's gonna be like, sure, but we can be attached to them, so don't worry about it.
Alex, I mean, is Tiffany particularly invested in Victor going in and then winning this season with information that she drops on his lap? I mean, it's like, okay, I didn't go in the house, all right, yeah, whatever. Screw those guys, but I can't imagine that she's like, okay, it's on you. Bring it home for me, Victor.
Yeah, this is to me like it takes me back to like a sports psychology class I took in college, where it's like this is kind of like the competitive drive kicking in. You know what I mean? Like you can't help yourself, but still like try to, you're out now, but you want to still have a stake in this game that you've committed like the last 38 days of your life to. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean it's your way of kind of like imprinting a player who's still going to have a role in the game with your perceptions and your view on how things should go. I mean, we see this a lot, especially in like Big Brother Canada, you know what I mean, where we have sequestered house guests who are sequestered together. You see all the time that they kind of imprint desires for how they want the game to go on each other, depending on who comes back. So I don't think this is I don't think this is at all strange.
I felt like this was more of an FU Amanda situation where she just wanted to get a shot in a Day. She was just like, go after Day, basically, because Day taunted her in that goodbye message, and she was like, I want to do everything in my power to make sure that Davon gets evicted next.
Yeah, that wasn't friendship at all.
No, or Glenship. Let's just pick up the thread with Victor and a couple of these other storylines going on in the house. Now, the big story from before the feeds came on was how Natalie and Victor were the showmans before the feeds came up, and they broke up before the feeds even came on. And that left jilted Natalie right there waiting for James to ultimately, come and be her knight in shining armor. So let's just talk through the love triangle now. And Taryn, how will the return of Victor ultimately affect James and Natalie?
I don't think it'll affect their relationship. I think Natalie is the kind of woman who understands how to, like, I don't know, like handle this kind of jealousy or like be like feeling threatened. I think that she's going to be very sensitive toward James and be like, I hate Victor, like I'm totally on your side in getting him out. I think that the relationship, if anything, might get stronger. I just think that in the game it's going to be bad for James if he guns for Victor super strongly.
Yeah, Alex, even if Brent,
no, it's okay.
yes.
No, finish your thought. It's okay.
Well, I was gonna say that even if Natalie is totally cool about it and is like, James, I'm totally for you. I hate Victor. I really feel like that's just going to. We've given James so much praise as he's been so chill this season. He's really just concentrated on trying to be in this relationship, and by proxy, it's really helped his game out because he hasn't been targeting anybody. But now here is this guy who I think that James probably is going to really have an inferiority complex with Victor being back in the house.
That's what I'm saying. In the game, it's bad for him.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think it matters how Natalie handles it. I just think there's going to be a level of, if you're Victor and you recognize that you can play this up here, I think you need to be taking the shirt off and waving around your head like a helicopter. Working out naked needs to be the game plan. See if you can't catch Natalie looking, and then see if that doesn't piss James off. You know what I mean?
No,
even if it's inadvertent.
He should
That's
do the
crazy
opposite.
plan,
He should play up to James and try to smooth that over as much as possible. You don't want somebody coming after you like that. Like James is going to blow up his game to get you out, but you're still going to be out.
He's never smoothing that over. Might as well just
exactly.
Brent,
Might as well try though.
Hold on. Brent, is it possible now that James's game will be rattled?
I decide to rattle her.
Oh.
Yes, rattled. That's exactly what he needs to do. I agree with Alex. And it'd be more fun TV because, let's be honest, Victor's not winning this season, so at least have some fun. I mean, you're telling me that Taryn's like, okay, everything's going to be okay. I think it's going to be smoothed
That's not
over.
what I'm saying. In the relationship, they'll be fine. In the game, he's...
I don't think it will be fine. She had some feelings for Victor. She had some feelings for Victor. Victor is not used to coming in second place. And you're going to tell Victor in the house when he can't find another woman, like, this guy beat you? Like, she's not looking at you, she's looking at James? He's not going to just accept that. He's going to be
talking about
pissed.
Victor. I was talking about Natalie and James.
Maybe it's not the game player we need, but it's the game player we deserve. A Dark Knight, someone who's gonna rattle the cages.
I decide to rattle her.
Yeah. I think it's the one most compelling subplot here where this perhaps is going to, that James was just in the middle of the showmances and then he's got a good relationship with all these other people in the house. And I think that could just send him into a tailspin, even if Natalie handles it well. And I don't know if necessarily that the relationship will suffer, which is I think that what Taryn is saying, that the relationship will be fine. but this
Yes.
could be a very big mess for James to be dealing with, no matter how Natalie wants him to react.
I hope so.
That's exactly what I
am
said the
sick.
first time.
Okay, fine. Well, look, what I'm saying
Hey, this is
I
not
hope
Big Brother Happy Hour. Let's try to have some decorum.
I
around
really,
here.
really hope it does tick James off, because I am tired of seeing him sleeping with Natalie in the damn bumper car every night. Like, I'm so sick of it. It's like I don't even recognize this guy. He was a lot of fun last season, and he just sits there and cuddles all night long and all day. I want him to play
Hold
the
on.
game.
What was so fun about him last season that he's not
I mean,
doing
he was
this
at
season?
he at least made some moves last season. I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice. He was at least made some moves last season when he had power and was willing to blow things up. I feel like he's just along for the ride this season.
Well, let's see what happens this week.
right.
you
That's what I'm
want him to
saying.
make moves.
Up until now, there's been absolutely nothing coming from James.
Brent, they fit in that bumper car so snugly, though.
Oh,
Yeah.
shut up.
All right. Then in terms of Victor with some of the other people in the house, we know that he was gunning for Paulie. What was his relationship like with Frank the first time through, Alex? Was Victor starting to be in those talks where the house was turning against Frank?
No, because
No.
Victor was just, he was like completely removed from the. I don't even think the house really turned against Frank too much, at least until
No.
Victor was already gone. I don't remember it happening at all, really. In fact,
Frank was in with Paulie, and they were both gaming Victor.
yeah, like Dave
but-
Vaughn had started like planting some seeds, but they hadn't like borne any poison fruit yet. You know what I mean? Like the 8-pack wasn't crumbling yet. So as a result, like that blind side was carried off perfectly. He didn't have anyone shooting him straight. Yeah.
On the other hand, Frank, this may be one of those places where some of the seeds that Frank was working on. Remember where he was like, being all nice to Victor and pretending to be his friend and being buddy with him. And we were, at least I was critical of that, because I felt like you're going to blindside the guy sooner or later. So what does this even matter? And then now he comes back into the house. So he may have some friendship with Frank, considering that Frank was at least civil with him before he left.
Okay. Well, going back to the first week of the game, when the revolution was in play, there were 6 people that were potentially in that revolution. 4 are still in the house. Taryn, is there any possibility that the revolution could get back together?
No. Not without Frank and James getting on board as well. I do think that's a possibility, but I don't see Victor being the person that can pull those people back in. Paul is totally content right now to be Paulie's wingman.
Is that what you would call it? Okay. Never
Yeah,
mind.
let's face it.
Absolutely. Paulie wants to take Paul very far into this game. I guarantee it. I think that Bridget is definitely sticking with Frank. I think Natalie is definitely sticking with James. It's going to be hard to draw all of those people in together because none of them are aligned in any way, those pairs.
All right. So, Alex, who do you think is the person who is the opportunist here, who looks at Victor and says, okay, this is somebody who's coming into this game. He has nothing. He's been out of the game for, 3 weeks now, and now here he is back. Is there one person that you feel like could pull Victor in as a vote on their side?
Again, I come back to Frank. I feel like Frank is the one that needs it the most. Frank is the one that, groundwork has been laid by Tiffany, and he's coming off of a situation where he campaigned all week and didn't get the votes to go his way. I think Frank is going to be working extra hard to try to pick up some kind of numbers, and Victor's a bit of a free agent right now. I would also see, he's gravitated towards the bros a bit in the past. Like, I certainly don't think, like, all of a sudden he's going to have a working relationship with, like, Dave Vaughn. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really see that. But, could Paulie, even though Paulie was responsible for his blindside, could Paulie try to make some kind of thing there with Corey? Yeah, I could see that, too.
This is what's going to happen. Victor's going to go in the house, and Paul is going to say, hey, listen, it was Frank's fault you got evicted. It's Frank's fault that Paulie went after you. Frank is the big bad. Let's come over with me and Paulie. We've got your back. We're going to get Frank out. Everything's going to be good because he was the bad apple.
Yeah, I agree. That's the one point that Tara and I agree on. I don't see anything changing with Victor coming into the house. He's just going to be under Paul's wing, and I don't care what he said in the interviews about going after Paulie. Once Paul gets in his ear, all of that's going to change. I have no hope for this at all. I'm sorry to be such a Debbie Downer, but I feel like that's where we're headed.
Yeah, I think that for Frank, I think he's kind of screwed either way here, because if he tries to bring Victor in and work with Victor, I just feel like that it's too toxic of this person that, like, hey, this person just won 3 competitions to get back into the house, so we're worried about him already, and then Frank is somebody they're already worried about, so it's almost like this double threat going there together. And then the other way is that they pull Victor in to start working to get Frank out of the house, and that's just another person. I almost feel like it's better for Frank if Victor is coming after him and he could point to, you guys are worried about me? Look, what's going on over there between, Paulie and Paul and Victor now all on that side of the house. Like, you guys need to come with me or they're just going to run you off the road at some point.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is Frank is not one who's going to be, like, gaining the numbers, I don't think, anytime soon. He's not shown a propensity to do it, and he doesn't look like he has the people in the house ready to want to come to his side. So, yeah, given what we know about Frank, he's almost better off having a bunch of enemies and just, win some comps.
Taryn, we haven't talked about Nicole and Corey. Do they have any sort of affiliation with Victor? I remember back in the first week where Victor had that conversation with Nicole where he had his shirt off and she was talking to him, and that he ratted out that Jose was coming after her. And that was a very funny moment in this season. Do they have any sort of affiliation with Victor?
Yeah, Nicole had a somewhat close relationship with Victor.
Right.
Victor, asked her on a date supposedly, which caused a lot of drama. I think that Nicole is definitely going to want to reignite that. She wasn't a huge fan of Victor leaving in the first place because she knew she kind of had him if she needed him. So I think she might be a little bit happy to see him back, maybe thinking that, hey, maybe I can pull him away from Paulie and sort of have another person as maybe a backup. Maybe she feels now that she can cut Frank and be like, I have Victor instead.
One other thing that came out of tonight's episode, and Brent, you did call this last night where you talked about, I think that this next twist is going to have to do with this room upstairs. We found out that there is going to be a secret room, I guess really a la Big Brother Canada, but I think they've done stuff like that in the Big Brother US, the gold room in the past where, okay, you have to find these clues to the secret room, and they said, okay, it's going to be available for the next 4 weeks, but then they teased Sunday night's episodes. Let's see if somebody finds the secret room on Sunday night. So I felt like that seemed like that was maybe a little tipping of the hand that maybe there's going to be something going on. They said it's going to be a jam-packed Sunday night episode. Taryn, do you think that this room will be open and discovered immediately?
I think that they're going to, at the very least, do a segment on it where maybe they release a clue, or there's some sort of scramble or search for clues or something. They're probably searching for something to replace this roadkill competition in their Sunday episode, and this is probably going to be it. I don't know if they're going to find it immediately. I think they probably wouldn't want that. Maybe it's something like they release a clue every week, and then maybe on the second or third week they find it, and they have so many weeks to use it. Whatever.
Yeah, I think at some point Jesse Goddard is going to come in with a whipped cream mankini, and there's going to be a clue somewhere in there for you to fish out. You got to reach in there.
Oh, me, please.
Alex, that Scott Schieffer in the chat room says that maybe that's the room where Glenn has been living. Is that possible?
I'm from the Bronx, and we come from the school of hard knocks, and I got a hard head I don't like to lose.
Yeah.
Well, I hope they
do
book
like
enough
to
air
live in a
holes.
secret room.
They find Glenn in the fetal position, just like,
Yeah.
please.
I said I would get back in that house one way or the other.
I'm not Harry Potter. You can't keep me under the stairs like this.
They don't lose in the Boogie Down Bronx.
This is
Wait.
inhumane.
Can we just talk,
room is
though?
the Boogie Down Bronx room?
I know
really
how to treat
superpower.
dogs. You don't treat dogs this way.
All right.
Power is you get Glenn.
All right, Brent, yes.
Yes. Can we just talk, though, about, we're all worried about the hell that was, I know you're laughing. We're worried about the hell that was going to be unleashed on the house guests. I think that I feel very positive about this. I've been begging them to do something like this since Big Brother 6. Put a secret room in the house. Anybody can find it. There are clues throughout the house. And it holds some power that will eventually change the game a little bit. And
yeah. Well, I have to give credit to Humberto on Twitter, who tweeted that as a good fan and a perceptive person, I bet Devon finds the room first. I also know she will mess it up. A pretty safe bet, right, Taryn?
Yeah, absolutely. This is exactly Devon's, MO. I think that she's gonna find it, and then she's gonna tell everybody, and then use it incorrectly.
So definitely that could happen. All right, so let's get into some of our questions. Scott St. Pierre has been pulling them all throughout the show. Hashtag RHAP, and let's jump in. Michael GM, hope that GM stands for Gina Marie. What are your guys' opinion on the re-entered house guests? Do you like the idea, or do you think if they're evicted, you are evicted or a victor?
Wait, what?
Well, I think obviously all four of us agree that in an ideal world, we don't like the idea of someone coming back. But if they're going to do it, I do like the way they did it with a little bit of a redemption island. They told us up front how many people were going to come out of the house before they were going to let somebody re-enter the game. So it wasn't like, we felt like there was some tinfoil hat conspiracy going on about who they wanted to come back in.
Tinfoil snapback.
Right. The competitions were very fair. I mean, I can't imagine in their wildest dreams that Big Brother wanted Victor to come back. I'm sure he was like 5 out of 5 of the people they wanted to come back in the house. So, I mean, sorry, this is the one we got.
To all the people that say these things are fixed, yeah, this is a good point to say that no, they left it up to chance, Alex, and Lady Luck was a real something.
Yeah. Bronte was pushed, Rob.
Bronte was pushed. All right, let's go to She-Man32, who says, odds of Devon finding the clues but not being able to keep her mouth shut about the clues and someone else finding instead. Yeah, that's possible also. So that's where Devon is like, I noticed this, I noticed this, I noticed this, and then somebody else is able to steal the power out from under her, which is another very plausible scenario.
Yeah.
So we're really connecting Devon to this new secret twist one way or the other. Either she finds it and uses it incorrectly, or she finds all the clues and somebody else just gets it away from her.
Yeah,
I think it's possible that Michelle finds it. I mean, Michelle's a real fan of the show. She's watched Big Brother Canada, too. So, I mean, she knows about secret rooms and clues around the house. If anything changes in the house, it looked like that the things that they were showing, I don't think all of those were currently in the house. So I'm hoping that Michelle is perceptive enough to pick up on it. But it's probably going to be Devon.
I'll tell you this much, Rob. The second that word secret leaves Julie's mouth, the camera doesn't even cut away from the group. I'm already tearing open the couch cushions, like ripping up the floorboards. Like, I'm creating the narrative right away that we're going to tear this house apart and find some secrets.
Yeah, but in Survivor, we've seen many different players, and some of them I do podcasts with, that have gotten some sort of a negative connotation from looking too hard for some sort of a clue, an advantage. Why do they need it so bad? Taryn, is that a thing that happens in Big Brother?
Yeah, it happened to Devon last season. She was looking in rooms for secret things, and she got called on it, and that's largely why she was sent home. So yeah, I think that you have to be careful about it. That said, if it's announced, if it's something that's like, hey, there's a secret, everybody's going to be looking, and it's not going to be a thing.
And that's why I like my idea of, like, do it still while the live show is on, because then it's, like, kind of a joke. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm going to look through everything. It's funny. Oh, did I find something? You know what I mean? Like,
I don't like...
Create the narrative that it's a game, and then win the game.
No. I don't like this idea at all, because you know who would be out in front and center would be freaking Paul, like, hamming it up in front of everybody, trying to find something. Oh, look what I found! That would be Paul.
Good distraction. Good distraction.
So,
while you find the thing that really matters and put it in your, briefs.
Zach Walter says, do you think that all the clues have been hiding in the house all along? It's interesting because the house has certainly been decorated that way. I think from the moment that the house photos came out that people were wondering if there's going to be some sort of a riddle or something to figure out along the way. But now that the secret room is open, Taryn, what do you think they're going to do differently?
I think they're going to introduce things. I think that a lot of people looking at that departures board with the numbers and the locations as a potential way to talk about clues or point to things that would be hidden. I think they're going to introduce potentially some items, or like we've speculated, they might just say, "Hey, guess what? Riddle's on. Here's your first clue. Look for things in the house that you wouldn't have paid attention to before, but now you will."
But are we hoping that they do that? Because I hope they do it like Big Brother Canada did it, where they don't say anything.
Yeah, me too.
And the only people who find the clues are the people who are truly perceptive and can see that something has changed in the house.
Well, just to go back to the Big Brother Canada, so we're saying that the one that we like that they did was when Allison found the secret room in Big Brother Canada 2, but not when we had the brick that was not the furniture store, but the secret brick down in the have-not room.
Yeah, they didn't find that. That just popped up out of nowhere. I mean, Allison...
Because Kevin found it.
Right? Yeah, Allison had to go on a treasure hunt. That was very fun.
That made me want to throw a secret brick, Rob.
Oh, come on. All right, let's take another from Nicole Ruse, who says, did Victor just become the best GOAT? I mean, someone could take him to the end and say he wasn't even there for 3 weeks. Boy, could somebody lug Victor all the way to the end of the game, Brent? Does that seem like a plausible thing?
No, that seems like a terrible idea. I love whoever submitted this question, but no. First of all, Victor is very comp-able, so it's entirely possible that Victor may win one of the last few comps and decide to axe you. Second of all, Victor is a very charming individual. I know we see him as a bit of a meathead, but inside the house, he's pretty well liked. Even Paulie felt bad about backdooring him, so I can't imagine anybody would want to take him anywhere near the final 2.
Okay. Let's go to Steven, who says, what do you guys think that the super secret power is, and how did production disguise the room so it's invisible? All right, well, that we don't know. But, Alex, what do you think that the secret power is going to be? Another coup d'etat, potentially?
Potentially. I think I have seen, something else on the BB After Show about, introducing some kind of fan vote like a week from now or something too. So I don't know if that's going to be this power, if that's a different power, but that could play into some degree of a coup d'etat. That's possible. Maybe there's a coup d'etat coming in a week, and maybe there's a diamond power veto in the room. I got no idea. I got nothing for it.
Any thoughts on it?
I think they're gonna try for something new. I think that it's gonna be something we haven't seen before. So who knows?
Like twins, Taryn?
Yeah.
Yeah, like twins. 130
Glenn's twin.
We're going to see the twins.
I had a twin the whole season, and he was also locked up. He was going to come in week 4, and I never got there. He's also been locked away for all this time.
All right, put me down Staten Island.
Yeah. Jared says, is Victor coming back a benefit or a detriment to Paul's game? Let's just go around the horn and say whether we think it will be good or bad for Paul's game. Alex, good or bad for Paul's game?
Not friendship.
Not friendship. Yeah, friendship or pissed, Brent?
Pissed.
I think it's definitely a bad thing.
Pissed!
Yeah.
Pissed.
Darren.
I think Paul's game was going down, so this can only benefit him.
Oh, friendship.
Yeah.
Okay.
It still might turn out poorly, but it has the potential to go up, which is why.
Okay.
I'm trying to see. Someone in the chat room is posting something that they have a pretty good theory. It's Will Holston said something about putting in the correct numbers into the phone based on certain clues on the departures board and some time. So I can't read everything that he wrote. But that, if it's something like that, I hope it's something that you have to use a little bit of your brains in order to figure out.
What is this? Escape the room?
Yeah,
it would be fun. I like stuff like that, Rob.
False floor under the phone.
Yeah.
So
then one other speed round like this. Let's talk about whether or not Victor will be voted out of the house again this Thursday, because I thought, and I think that we thought going up to this, that there was going to be an HOH competition that was going to play out, and then the house guests were going to have somebody come back into the house. But it looks like Victor is going to be part of this HOH, and thus will be able to be nominated this week. So, Alex, yes or no, does Victor get voted out of the house this Thursday?
No. I'm going to say no. Yeah. Team twist over. Some people that, have been safe for a while can't be safe this week. This is, He's just a lot of bigger targets out there. Who's he have? You know what I mean? He may end up on the block very easily, because why wouldn't you just pawn him right now? But yeah, no, I don't see him as a likely number one target for very many people.
Okay. Alex says
No!
All right, Brent, what about you? Is Victor voted out immediately?
Oh, I mean, I won't say 100%, but I feel like that there are so many axes to grind currently in the House. I think Victor coming back in is a bit of a fresh air for everybody. I don't feel like they'll have any animosity with him whatsoever, even Paulie.
So you say he stays?
I think he stays, yeah.
He stays. Taryn?
I think more likely than not he stays. I think that anybody who wins HOH is giving up the initiative if they go after him. But if James wins that HOH, I think we could very well see him go.
And I feel like that if the House is just so connected to everybody, and I don't know if necessarily people want to go big game hunting. I think people want Frank out, but maybe I think there's only a couple people that might have the cojones, as Brent might say, to do it. So I will say
130%.
yes. I'll say Victor goes right back out, revolving door style, and plays in a second battle back this season, and potentially returns to the House a third time later on this season.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So we saw that like the battle back comps pretty much mirrored HOHs of the past weeks, right?
Yes.
So I guess the one between Tiffany and Victor, this kind of picture puzzle, even like the one between Bronte and Victor was a questionnaire on pictures, like Paulie won last week. So I'm wondering, like, do you think that means this week's HOH is going to be that kind of a puzzle? Can Victor compete? And if so, like, doesn't it benefit him that he's like done it already once?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing myself about now. It was the advantage that Victor has already competed in, because you think that they're not going to redress the backyard, so I think it will be a similar theme, but I can't imagine that it's going to be the same exact thing because it was such a huge set piece for them to do a head-to-head competition. So I wonder maybe could it be a smaller version of that type of thing. But Brent, I feel like that in these competitions that we see that play out on these Sunday night episodes that we haven't seen, I feel like it's usually like some sort of a tournament game, right?
Yeah, I mean, or it also could be an endurance competition that maybe they have time to edit it and they want to show something on Sunday night, so it could be something like that. I really have no idea. The question that I also had a question. How long do we think it's going to be before somebody in the House targets somebody from the four Showmance Alliance, from Nicole, Corey, Paulie, and Zakiya? How long is it going to be before anybody actually takes a shot at them? I am pessimistic and feel like it's going to be a while. And if that's the case, then we're looking at most of the people who are going to be in the finals in that alliance. What do you guys think?
I think that you're signing your own death warrant if you do that in the game, because you might get one of them out potentially, and maybe this is the first week that the roadkill isn't in play, so you could maybe nominate two of those people, but I got to feel like that you're almost guaranteed to at least be up on the block the following week. What do you think, Taryn?
Yeah, I'm on board with that. I think that I said, on Wednesday, I thought there was a possibility that Paulie could go home this week, depending on who comes back and who wins HOH. I think with Victor coming back, that possibility is practically zero. I think that the Showmances greatly benefit from Victor coming back in, and I think that they're going to be good for at least the next couple of weeks, and rightfully so, because the House dynamics are set up so that it is suicide to go after them at the moment.
Yeah, the House was sort of split to a degree, and I feel like that Victor coming back in might be the thing that sort of heals those wounds, where the two sides of the House could say, hey, let's all just get Victor out this week.
I don't know. I do think there's a way, and I'm hoping Alex has my back on this. I think there's a way where you could go to one Showmance and say, look, I really love you guys, but I'm really threatened. Like, I love you, Nicole and Corey, but I'm really threatened by Zakiya.
The Danny Donato?
Yeah, like, go to the one Showmance, make friends with them, and, look, from the rest of the House's standpoint, Nicole and Corey and Zakiya and Paulie have not admitted that they are in an alliance together. So, I mean, if you go to Nicole and Corey and say, look, I'm really threatened by these guys over here, but I want to keep you guys safe because I like you and I want to work with you, I think that could work. I don't think there would be as much blowback on the person who did the move in the first place.
Okay, let's
Yeah,
keep going.
I think if you're gonna target a showmance, you have to get the other one on board, and I think
Okay.
Corey and Nicole are the ones you want on your side because they're the ones that are more fearful, so they're the ones that are gonna be easier to manipulate. But I still think you probably can't do that for a couple of weeks. There's just no incentive for them to be down to go with something like that.
Okay. John Johnson, are the ball pits by the final Battleback Challenge for the HOH competition? That's a good point. That there were separate colored ball pits that were there. Brent, do you think that could be part of the HOH competition?
Oh, I think it's definitely part of the HOH competition. I mean, they were like, 12 different colors, I think, and that there are 12 different house guests currently in the house, counting Victor. So, I think that puzzle had nothing to do with anything. I think they just erected that and put it up there, and something that they could easily take down after the fact and, play the rest of the HOH competition that probably has something to do with all of these balls. Yay, another ball joke. So mature.
Yeah,
that puzzle was basically part 2 of the final HOH competition. I wouldn't expect it to be, anytime soon.
Right.
Quick aside, though, did you guys get like Dan Foley from Survivor vibes on Victor's BB Music Festival spelling job there? I thought he had it right and looked up, and it was just like
Victor
a total mismatch.
is wrong again.
Wrong again.
Yes. Okay. Brocktree4 says, does Paulie get Victor to join up with him, Corey, and Paul, or does he freak out again and try to get Victor out even before Frank? I can't imagine that Paulie is going to go nuts and try to get Victor out of the house for the second time, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely saw him. He was the one guy sitting on the couch shaking his head like, I knew it, like when Victor came back in. He's a little worried about the fact that he was the guy who backdoored him, but at the same time, yeah, the Paul link, as Taryn has really talked about, and then I just think, yeah, it's Frank is just someone that they've now waited 2-3 weeks. They've been sitting on this, and they can't get him out. Depending on who wins HOH, if Frank is an available target, I just think it's going to be too tasty a meal for them to pass up on at this point.
Taryn, do you think there's anybody who might be plotting against Paulie that might be able to use the Victor thing to their advantage, to use him as sort of like a cat's paw to be able to take a shot at Paulie, hypothetically, if he is able to win an HOH?
If Victor wins the HOH?
Yes.
I think Frank might try. I think Frank's going to push Day first, though. I think that the only situation where Paulie gets targeted is if somebody like Frank or maybe Victor, but I really doubt it. But if Frank wins HOH, he goes after Day, and then she wins the veto or something. He might be like, all right, time to make a move on Paulie. But beyond that, I don't see anybody targeting Paulie.
You know what's so stupid is that Frank and Davon are the two most disconnected players in the house from the main center alliance. It's like there's a whole amoeba of people in the middle, and then there's Frank on one side, and he has Bridget, and then Davon is on the other side. The dumbest thing those two people could be doing right now is going after each other because they both have no real pull with that main group. They're both, whatever one gets rid of the other one, they're going to follow the other one out the door.
We're set for another unholy alliance.
I was going to say, it's almost a little bit like how Big Brother Canada 4 was with Jared and Dallas, just overtly targeting each other, and everyone else was like, all right, this works for us.
Yeah, I was not happy with that. It really was not. It did not go great.
It reminds me of
it's not a winning formula for me.
Like Danny Donato and Jeff during Big Brother 13, where one goes after the other, and then the other one goes out right after because they're the obvious biggest target left.
These comparisons are not right because these people had big alliances. Frank and Davon are alone. That's the point. It's just like Frank and Tiffany were alone.
Don't rail on me. I'm just trying to make a really tangential comparison. It's not exact.
Yeah, we're just talking about.
Are you telling me not to rail on you after how much you rail on me? Come on.
We're talking about polls with the big amoeba in the middle now. All right. Clown shoes.
All right. Settle down, everybody. All right. Jameer Flid says, who will it be best for Victor to align with to go far in the game? If we were going to give Victor a Tiffany-like pep talk right before he goes in, Alex, what would it be? 2 sentences.
Oh my God, you really have to try hard. like seriously, you have to do better than you did last
That's
time.
terrible.
That's the worst advice of all time.
I'm just trying to think of like what Tiffany would say in the moment.
No,
I'm
you
trying
be
to channel
you be Alex. Give your
Oh.
give your Alex
Oh.
advice.
Oh, okay. God, Victor.
Okay, I can do
All right,
it.
we'll come back to you, Brent.
I got it. This is the Brent advice. Play the game hard. Align with Frank and Bridget. There's a power alliance in the house. Get Paul over on your side. Don't go over to his side. And make sure you go after those two showmances. Everything else be damned.
Taryn.
Showmances have power. Pretend to work with them, but don't.
My advice would be, Victor, go in the house and go to sleep. Play dead. Just lay on the floor in a ball, and everybody will leave you alone.
All right, yeah, I got mine.
Yes.
There's a secret room. Find it. Hide somewhere. Hide somewhere. Stay there
You
for
guys
days.
are encouraging him to be more aggressive. I just think that there's
stay in the
no
room
way.
for days. Don't let anyone
like-
else know it's there. Disappear.
Just like Jon Snow, like I'm like Sansa. I'm like there are traps in this house. Like I don't know what they are. Just don't run into them. Do the opposite of what everybody wants you to do. Just go and wait it out. Go slow.
I want fun feeds. I want a fun show. You know, look, I don't think his odds of winning the game are very good to begin
We're trying
with.
to help Victor, not the feeds.
I think his only shot is to get the showmances thinking that he's their puppet. But as long as he's able to quietly wait and continue to make connections with people like Paul, maybe get Bridget back on his side, something like that, and he waits for these showmances to sort of dwindle down the other people, then he can flip on them, and that's the time to make them move.
Yukon
doesn't
R in the
sleep.
chat room has a great suggestion. Should Victor have faked injuries from the battle back, where it's like, yeah, I got back into the house, but like I've pulled my hamstring and I will not be able to walk anytime soon.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
but that's like 8th level chess. I mean, we're asking this of Victor to do that. I
It
mean, come
worked
on.
for Tyson in Blood versus Water.
Hey, if he's gonna channel a professional wrestler in the DR, he might as well, continue the work, bro.
It's a good idea. It's a good idea, Yukon R. All right, a couple more questions. Jennifer Pollock, how devastated do you think Victor was to see that his BFF Paul and enemy Paulie were sporting matching hairdos? And not just that, Jose, I think, had that haircut as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that was not a good look. I don't even think he noticed that right away, but he's going to find out very quickly how close Paul and Paulie are aligned, and I don't think he's going to be very happy about it, especially after what he heard from Tiffany and that he needs to work with Frank. And Paul's going to be telling him, Frank's the big bad, you got to get Frank out, and he's not going to be sure of what to do. I'm sure we're going to hear some of that indecision in the diary room from Victor.
I think we need to push Jordan Parhar to get this haircut. I feel like he's almost there. I think he needs to just just go get the buzzer with no clip on it around the sides, and I think he will be there with the Paulie Paul Jose haircut.
The haircut is spreading as fast as your boy is spreading.
Yes, so many of your boys today, and Victor's like, yeah, your boy won. I didn't even know your boy was in this competition. I thought this was homeboy.
Maybe it's a symptom of the haircut.
Or Victor's been sequestered. He doesn't know how overexposed we are to it at this point. It's not his fault. But with
somebody tweeted me "Is this a spoiler that Victor's saying your boy? We know he's been in the house and has been infected with Paul's language."
Yeah. Your boys. Okay, let's do two more. Zach B says, why do people who play ORGs tend to play so poorly in the house? We've talked about this before, where these actual games are really more about the social dynamics and making friends and getting people to like you on a genuine level. I think that the Natalie the Natalie skill set, I think, is probably more useful in the house than the super schemy strategy that's going to help you win an ORG.
Well, also, we've seen two examples, and one of them, I think, went out more because she was Vanessa's sister than because she played an ORG. So,
but I think we see it in Survivor as well, where the people come in and it's like, okay, and I don't know, I can't think of a person off the top of my head, but I definitely feel like that is a thing where the people who have, played these games and are thinking strategy from the start tend to do not as great, whereas somebody who's just like, let me make friends and then worry about strategy in the second half of the game tend to do better.
I don't think it has to be mutually exclusive, but I
Right,
definitely
I don't think or G is the connecting factor.
But I definitely think one thing it lends itself to is you overdoing, because you've played a thing before, and that thing plays at a much quicker pace, so it can, accelerate your clock in the game, so to speak. I could see that for sure.
Okay. And this is a question else. So look what Scott did here. Anybody notice poor James looking at Nat, who's looking at Vic? Okay, so this is like the Zapruder film here. So look at here's Paul. He's very happy here in this picture. And then there's Natalie. She's like, oh my God, it's Victor. Zakiya looks happy, but look at James. James staring in the direction of Natalie, who's looking at Victor walking through the door. Taryn, talk us through here. I thought you said that Natalie was going to be fine with this.
This is a picture. I'm still calling it. This
Worth
is not
1,000 words.
This is not going to be an issue in there. I mean, it might be a thing where they talk about it, but it's not going to break them up.
I'm not buying that. I think
You
when
think
there's
they're going
somebody,
to break up?
Breakfast almost broke them up, Taryn.
I'm a man. I make my own breakfast.
You guys are getting bragged on so hard if I'm right about this.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying that look, Victor is he's a hot guy. And you're telling me that Natalie's not going to look 2 seconds at him.
She doesn't like six-packs, Brent.
She liked it during the first week.
She couldn't stand him when he was in the house. She was dreading him coming back.
She liked him during the first week. She got what she wanted from him, and then she threw him away.
Don't have to like somebody to watch him exercise, bro. That's all I'm saying. And if she's watching him exercise, it's going to incense James.
The question is, does Natalie like the bad boy? And that is what we are going to find out here in the next week. Does she want America's favorite player? Or does she want the bad boy?
She wants America's player.
Can it be
If she's
both?
anything like me, she wants the bad boy.
All right. Nico Amy says, who will be the main target next week, Davon, Victor, or Frank? All right, let's call this, and then that'll be the end of the show. Okay, Alex, who's the main target next week? Without even knowing who the HOH is.
Frank.
Brent.
It's got to be Davon. I think most people are against Davon, and Nicole and Corey do have some relationship with Frank currently. I don't think it's Frank. It's got to be Davon.
Okay. Taryn.
I think more likely Frank than Davon, but it's up in the air.
Frank. I'll say Victor. I think that he is the person he's the Song of Fire and Ice. He unites the sides of the house and gets everybody hating him for a couple days before he goes home again on Thursday. All right, so we've got a jam-packed show coming up on Sunday night to cover. We should find out in the next few hours who the HOH is, who the nominees are. Forget about the roadkill, but we will start to see, and probably we'll find out by Sunday night who has the veto as well. So a lot of information is going to be coming down the pipeline here. We will talk about it all on Sunday night when Alex Kidwell joins me, filling in for Taryn Armstrong, and a very special guest will be joining us that by popular demand that the fans have spoken. They have requested this person to come on the show, and I'm not going to tease it anymore. Adam Pock.
I knew it.
Yes.
I knew it.
Who else would the fans want?
He does not live in the Boogie Down Bronx, but he lives in one of the 5 boroughs.
Down Bronx?
Yeah, he lives in the Bacon Down Bronx. And so we will talk to him on Sunday night and see if maybe he will have connected with Glenn before then. And for the hashtag, for the night that Glenn goes home, I saw this in the chat room before, and I didn't say it on the show. We have to go with the Glegsit.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Without question.
The Glegsit happened.
I'm from the Bronx, and we come from the school of hard knocks, and I got a hard head. I don't like to lose.
He's got a hard head. He doesn't want to lose.
That exchange rate is murder right now.
Yes. It is my #1 mission in life to get Glenn on in this podcast. ASAP. Glenn, if you're watching
Make it happen,
this,
people.
If you're watching this, Glenn's wife, if you're watching this, we need to talk to Glenn. We need to go through everything. we need to do a deep dive, 5-hour interview with Glenn.
I can't wait.
I want to know about all of the eggs. I want to know about everything. The official exit interview with Glenn.
How did he feel about the Glegsit? If he could have voted, would he have voted to leave?
Yes, we got to know everything about Glenn and his take on everything, and if he wants to be the fourth live feed correspondent. That's what we need to know. All right, so that's going to do it for us here tonight. Also, we want to remind you guys on Monday night we will have the Big Brother Happy Hour, so join the live feed correspondence with Jordan. Find out if Jordan got the official friendship/Glennship haircut by Monday night. That's going to be a lot of fun. Thanks so much to Scott St. Pierre for pulling all the questions behind the scenes. I loved the Battle Back. Real quick, one last time, thumbs up or thumbs down on Battle Back night. Alex?
I wasn't wild about it personally. I feel like it's more for the Ruperts of the world. They're like, where are all the comps? Or competitions and challenges?
Brent?
Thumbs up, but better editing next time so I don't know that Victor won every one of those competitions.
Taryn?
I'm always thumbs down on twists, but for
Shock.
a twist, it's thumbs up.
Yeah, I'll say thumbs up. I didn't love the result, but I thought it was a very fun hour of TV and an extra BB night of the week. So I'll say overall thumbs up on the Battle Back, and we'll see if they have a second one later on this season. Thanks so much for joining us here live. Great live audience here on a Friday night on the YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast to not miss any of the shows. Go to robswebsite.com/iTunes. Have a great weekend, everybody. Take care.